welcome to our Big Ten CrossCourt cast. This is your host, Peri Sheinin, on behalf of Craft Racquets. We are outdoors at Rutgers in New Jersey as Rutgers hosts Minnesota. Both of these teams looking to win their first Big Ten matchup of the 2026 season. We are starting here on court number 1, where Mein Nguyen is partnered up with Susanna Frankowska from Rutgers. Nguyen now in her senior season. Meanwhile, on the far side, in the crimson, we see the University of Minnesota, Nora Zevich and Arina Balatova. Rutgers has won the opening game on all 3 courts in progress. And as usual in college tennis, we have 3 doubles matches followed by 6 singles matches. These doubles matches are just 1 set, no add scoring. Singles will be played 2 out of 3 sets. And we will be playing clinch format today, which means the first team to win 4 points overall wins the match. In doubles, one team has to win 2 out of 3 of the matches in progress to claim the opening point. We can also tell how windy it is today. It's very windy in New Jersey. I've played on these courts many times, and there's also not much shade. So it's basically all sun and all wind. Not easy for Minnesota to come into this environment. Although Minnesota does lead the overall record 10-2 since 2009. So the Gophers certainly have the history advantage today. Somehow that ball stayed in. That's the fun thing about the wind is sometimes it looks like she hit that ball a little bit late, but sometimes the wind just blows it in. We have our first no-add deuce point of the afternoon. The Scarlet Knights roster has 5 out of 9 underclassmen, with just 1 senior in Mein Nguyen. It is a break as Minnesota gets on the board. And we can just tell in these conditions, footwork is going to be so important in the wind. Because it's also brutal when you're going cross court. The net player has some more opportunities to poach some of these balls because the wind will be spinning the ball right into the strike zone of the net player. So we'll be watching for that across the courts today. And we do see the score updates online for us, it is 1-all now across all three courts. And here on court number 2, we see another deuce point coming up. And Rutgers takes it. So Scarlet Knights lead 2-1 here on court number 2 in this matchup between Karina Jamazova and Zainab Ilker. And on the opposing side for Minnesota, we see Anlin Z and Maya Lepere. Let's hop on over to court number 3 if possible, as Stella Schmitz and Naomi Cowrie from Rutgers take on Giselle Ante and Jingyan Wang. Sometimes the ball is just also dying on these courts, and that is in part because of the conditions. We just saw that poach, and the ball literally hit the court, it died. It was kind of like grass court tennis. Right on the foot. So that was a great position there from Minnesota. You saw very quick on the ball there. A little too quick for Rutgers to even respond. But that's the perfect placement if you're going to poach, right at the feet of the opponent, literally on their shoelaces. So it's 2-1 for Schmitz and Karki as we change ends. As we see the Scarlet Knights getting a nice start at home. 2-1 leads on courts 1 and 3. Gophers have the 2-1 lead on court number 2. And hopping back onto court number 2, we see the 2-1 lead for Anlin Shi and Maya Lepere. Rutgers is 7-6 overall this year. Scarlet Knights are 0-3 in the Big Ten, but they are coming off a 4-0 win over Cornell here in New Jersey. That marked their first Ivy League win at home since 2020. Back in 2020, it was February before the pandemic, and it was a 4-3 win over Penn. But since then, We see that Rutgers has not been able to take down an Ivy League team at home, so that was a big win for them. It also snapped a 3-match losing streak in the Big Ten for the Scarlet Knights. And for Minnesota, 10-8, 0-4 in the Big Ten. The Gophers also coming off a shutout win over South Dakota. That was this past Wednesday. So it's 2-all here on court number 2, and an interesting turn there. Again, I can't say this enough, but right now the ball is just spinning right out of everyone's strike zones. It's really swirling. Wind is really swirling. Hard to tell which way it's blowing, but we can tell it's a big factor. So there is not a lot that will change about that wind, at least for now. That was a wild serve +1 from the other side. Nice hands from Rutgers at net. And again, Rutgers all over the net. Rutgers is led by head coach Hillary Ritchie, now in her 10th season leading the Scarlet Knights. But she has spent over 15 years in New Jersey with this Rutgers program. She spent 6 years as an assistant before being promoted to head coach back in 2016. And we see Minnesota head coach right near the bench on the left side of our screen. Head coach Lois Arterberry, now in her 3rd season with the Gophers. That's a great move from Minnesota. It's important right now for the Gophers to establish themselves, playing on the road here at Rutgers. Certainly an opportunity to get an early start here. Potential chance to put some pressure on Rutgers, because we do see Scarlet Knights on court number 3 have taken a 3-1 lead. Chances here for Rutgers to also establish a lead here on court number 2. And we are on court number 1, rather. A little bit of service pressure. And again, in the wind, racket speed so important to just get that second serve in.
because it's going to be a little wonky. It's not going to be pretty. As Brad Gilbert says, it's always important to attempt to win ugly. And we're not going to see the prettiest tennis today with these conditions, but it's all about competitors and who is willing to grind the most and dig deep and not always look so pretty. Minnesota staying very patient. So 2 deuce points for Minnesota as the Gophers go up 3-2 here on court number 2. And meanwhile, on court number 1, we see senior mind one, Zuzana Frankowska, playing at home. And let's actually hop on over to court number 3, where it is a 4-1 lead for Rutgers. So we're seeing this match about to get back in action. Schmitz and Karkel up 4-1. So this is the greatest lead right now, as the Scarlet Knights are looking to get some momentum. Again, Minnesota leads 10-2 overall. Gophers won the last matchup back at Rutgers 1 year ago. That was a 4-0 win in the spring of 2025. Minnesota not quite tough enough there. And again, seems like Minnesota was against the wind there. So going for a lob when you're against the wind, not always the easiest shot, because of course it can drop right into your opponent's strike zone, right into that overhead for Rutgers. Stella Schmitz is in her freshman season. And although we don't see her out on court right now, Stella Schmitz has an older sister, Ava Schmitz, senior on the Minnesota team. The Schmitz sisters are daughters of an ATP pro who spent 10 years on the tour. Sometimes you have to make your opponent hit that overhead. Again, it's not going to look pretty today. We can tell by the American flag in the corner how much the wind is whipping, but sometimes also a little bit uncomfortable as a player to be playing in this wind and swinging through this wind, especially with nerves. So we'll have our eye out to see specific players that are able to work through that. Because as athletes, we always play alongside the discomfort that's in competitive matches. But when there's wind, it's a whole other opponent, a whole other factor that impacts your court and, of course, the side across from you, the court next to you. We're all in the same boat together when we're playing these matches in these conditions. So far here on court number 3, it has been Rutgers who has been able to weather the storm for the most part. And Rutgers has just been more consistent on court number 3. Sometimes just putting more balls in, making your opponent play a little bit more. That's beautiful tennis from Rutgers. Solid return. Net player right there to take it. So it's 5-1 for the Scarlet Knights. We're pretty close on the top 2 courts. So this is a very important moment for Rutgers. See if the Scarlet Knights can get some momentum on the board. Again, both of these teams looking for their first Big Ten victory this spring. That ball landed in. It was a great return. Minnesota head coach Lois Archerberry seems to be checking out one of the players, seeing if she's okay. Fortunately, it seems like everyone's okay. Coach Archerberry spent 2 seasons at the University of St. Thomas before joining the Gophers program. She's an alum of Southern University, where she was a 3-time Southwestern Athletic Conference champion. Schmitz is out there with Naomi Karki. Karki in her junior season. It's a great backhand from the freshman. Beautiful dip there. And that's a 6-1 victory for the Scarlet Knights on court number 3. So Rutgers gets on the board first. And Scarlet Knights just needing one more doubles match to get the first overall point of this college tennis match. That was a huge victory for freshman Stella Schmitz and Naomi Karki, as they give Rutgers a little bit of momentum early on here. It's 4-3 for Minnesota, though, on court number 1, and that's where we will head, as Nora Nezovic and Arina Valetova have the 4-3 advantage. And meanwhile, we will go double box as we check out the last 2 doubles matches. Mai Nguyen and Zuzana Frankowska on court number 1 for Rutgers. They've been a great duo for the Scarlet Knights. It's always a lot of pressure to play number 1 for your team, and Mai Nguyen knows that pressure well. Nguyen out of Atlanta, Georgia. She was the Big Ten Player of the Week last spring in March. She was the Northeast Region Most Improved Player. As a junior, she won 12 singles matches and 15 doubles matches for the Scarlet Knights. And we'll keep our eyes on court number 2. And that is a huge point from Rutgers. Absolutely huge. Rutgers with a big opportunity here to take the lead on court number 2. On the left side of our screen on court number 1, Minnesota does have the lead, so this doubles point has become neck and neck. It's 4-3 for Minnesota on court number 1, 3-all deuce on the right side of our screen on court number 2. That's a huge forehand from Minnesota, so the Gophers take advantage on court number 2. It's a 4-3 lead for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And we see our scores updating here. So it's a 4-3 lead for Minnesota on court number 2. 3-all becomes 4-3 for Minnesota on court number 1. And a chance for Minnesota to extend their lead now on our top doubles court. Minnesota's finding open space. I'm very impressed with the Gophers' technique as well, because these forehands, very simple technique. Good backswing straight to the ball, and by good backswing, I mean just not much going on back there, which is perfect. The simpler the technique, the more it will hold up in the wind, and Minnesota's doing a very nice job of using simple technique on the forehand side, keeping the eye on the ball, staying low, using power from the ground, all of the key words that coaches want to impart to their players in pressure moments. Minnesota's doing that very well. Nora Zevic from Minnesota is originally from Croatia. This past fall, she went 4-1 on the singles court, 6-2 in the doubles court. Her ITF career high ranking was 187 in the world. She was a Croatian Masters winner back in 13 and 15 and unders. When you're playing junior tennis, it just teaches you such great lessons for not only college tennis, but for life. If you're able to be successful at a young age on the tennis court, it also gives you confidence. Gives you confidence as a player, as a person, that you can work your way through tough situations, and especially in singles, you can rely on yourself and do quite well. Minnesota continuing to stay aggressive on the right side of our screen. Nora Zevich is partnered with Arina Valetova. Valetova in her senior season, originally from Prague. And Valetova going up against her former team in Rutgers. Valetova played at Rutgers until 2024. She appeared in 20 matches as a freshman. And then she transferred over to the Minnesota program. Last year, she won 9 matches in singles and doubles combined. Big deuce point on court number 2. Rutgers is absolutely grinding right now, fighting back, trying to stay alive. And I respect the fight because Rutgers is doing this not just for themselves, but also for their teammates. Their teammates on court number 1 need that energy, need that spark that Rutgers provided at number 3 doubles to say, hey, we're still fighting. We're still fighting at number 2. So we change ends at 5-4. And we can go full screen to court number 1, at least until court 2 is back in action. So Rutgers has the chance with a break to get this doubles point, which would be huge for the program. Considering that Minnesota leads that 10-2 overall record, it was 4-0 for Minnesota last time these teams met back in 2025. And so getting on the board first in doubles, that could be huge. That happens sometimes. The racket leaves your hand. Nothing you can do about it. So the Scarlet Knights are just 2 points away now from this doubles point. And what an exciting moment for Rutgers fans. This team coming off another historic moment, that 4-0 win over Cornell. The Scarlet Knights' first Ivy League win at home since 2020. And it's match point for the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers 0-3 in the Big Ten, Minnesota 0-4 in conference play. It's all about confidence right now, all about confidence and momentum, and this is a big opportunity right now for Rutgers to gain the upper hand heading into the singles portion. And there it is. The doubles point goes to Rutgers. So we pause play. This doubles point has been clinched by the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And so we'll head into singles now with Rutgers up 1-0. This overall match is played first to 4. So Rutgers will only need 3 out of 6 singles matches in action to win this overall match. Minnesota, of course, will need 4. So both head coaches will meet with their players, regroup, reconnect. And of course, it will be a quick turnaround before singles, and we'll be back momentarily with more singles action. Welcome back to our CrossCourt cast. This is Peri Sheinin, your host on behalf of Cracked Racquets. We are covering Minnesota versus Rutgers today. And as you can tell by the big R sign, we are at Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights took the opening doubles point, so they are up 1-love overall, which is a pretty big surprise considering that Rutgers trails Minnesota in the all-time record 10-2 since 2009. So this is pretty big for the Scarlet Knights program to have taken the doubles point. Minnesota took this overall match 4-0 last year in 2025. So already a bit of a different energy here in New Jersey. And we open singles play here on court number 1, where Rutgers senior Mai Nguyen takes on Giselle Ante from Minnesota. Mai Nguyen is the only senior on the Scarlet Knights roster, which is a lot of pressure to be the only one in your class. Mai Nguyen has been a wonderful player for Rutgers. She's originally from Atlanta, Georgia. She was voted as the 2025 ITA Northeast Region Most Improved Player. She also earned Big Ten Player of the Week honors last March. Mai Nguyen won 12 singles matches last season for the Scarlet Knights. She also earned a ranked win against Iowa. Mai Nguyen was number 33 in singles in her recruiting class of 2022. She was number 7 in the country on the doubles court. Mai Nguyen also was a member of a speed climbing team. In the 2013 National Speed Climbing Championship, Mai Nguyen took 5th. Speed climbing is such incredible footwork. My cousin is a world-renowned speed climber, and I know firsthand how challenging it is to ascend to the top of the sport, literally and figuratively. It's a smaller sport, but one that requires intense athleticism. The climbers ascend the walls. It's almost balletic in the way that they throw themselves gracefully from hold to hold. It's great down the line. Beautiful forehand there. A lot of coaches say that when players down the line shots are working, that's when you know that the whole court is open to that player. And so we're seeing already just 2 games in. If these players are able to unleash on down the lines, that's a really nice precedent for the rest of the match. Beautiful inside in, too. And we are on court number 2, where we see Zuzana Frankowska taking on Maya Lepere. Zuzana Frankowska playing for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. She is in her junior year. She's originally from Poland. Frankowska led the team last year with 16 singles wins. She also won 10 matches on the doubles court. Frankowska helped her team win the 2022 Team Polish Championships and was also a winner of the Women's Polish Cup that same year. Another excellent player from Poland, of course, is Olivia Linzer, who had a standout career at UCF rather, before transferring over to Oklahoma State. And here on court number 3, we see this matchup between Karina Jumasova and Ava Schmitz. Ava Schmitz in her senior season for Minnesota. And as we talked about earlier on this broadcast, her younger sister Stella was in action on the doubles court. So quite an honor to be playing against your sister's team. And their father played on the ATP Tour for 10 years, so tennis certainly runs in the family. It also seems like it would be a little stressful to play against your sister's team because, of course, as sisters, you probably compare yourselves growing up. At least my sister and I did on the tennis court. And then to be competing against their team, it's a wild perspective. My sister is currently a senior on the Michigan women's tennis team. They're playing UCLA today. Coming off of an absolutely wild doubles point in Ann Arbor. And we see across the courts, it's early, but Minnesota has a lead on court number 5 singles. Gophers are up 2-love, but everywhere else it's close. And of course, a 2-love lead early on, especially in college tennis, it doesn't mean much. It's never over until it's over in college tennis, and especially early on in a set. Momentum is one thing, but a lot of players are able to fight back nowadays. And they're able to break down their opponent and figure out this complex system on the court and figure out a way to get back into their game style. And they're able to do that really quickly. And I think that's a big difference between high school players and college players, is how quickly college players adjust to certain situations. Oftentimes, if they're down 2-love, it's just a moment before they're able to find their rhythm again and get into a better playing style that suits their game more. Whereas in high school, 2-love can often become 4-love. It can become 4-1, 6-1. It's a lot more rare for that to happen in college tennis. Every single point's a battle. And that was a pretty nice miss, actually. Just missing long by a little bit. It's pretty nice miss to start to get your range in this match. So for Rutgers, certainly a little more topspin would have helped on that forehand, but missing long by a little bit when you're just opening up a singles match is a nice way to start swinging through the ball and finding your range. And there's an overrule, so that overhead hit the line, according to the chair umpire. Rutgers gets overruled there, so that was a nice serve +1 from Minnesota. Sophia Pinto serving well here for the Gophers. And that's a hold for the Gophers, as Zeynep Ilker will now serve for the Scarlet Knights. And meanwhile, here on court number 5 singles, we see Stella Schmitz The younger Schmidt's sister taking on Anlin Shi. It's a great setup from Stella Schmitz. And we see how well Schmitz has been able to swing through the wind this whole match. Because starting in doubles, I was very impressed with Stella Schmitz and her physicality and how she really was able to find racket head speed through the wind when she was both with the wind and against the wind. Because when you're with the wind, you need racket speed to keep the ball in the court and get enough rotations on it that it doesn't just fly out on you. But then when you're against the wind, you almost need even more racket speed to make sure that you're not constantly getting attacked. Because it's really easy to hit the ball short when you're against the wind because it's like swinging with resistance. It's literally resistance training on the court. But racket speed and really good footwork is the way to keep the ball deep. That was a good idea there from Schmitz. I like the look at that backhand down the line. Minnesota has a really experienced roster, 8 out of 10 upperclassmen on their roster. 4 of those players are seniors. So if there's a year for Minnesota, it's certainly this year for the team to use experience and really lead those underclassmen. And we see how much depth Stella Schmitz is getting on that backhand side. It's giving her the chance to step in. Now, although she's missed 2 of those backhands when she's stepped in, she has earned it with high-quality rally balls. But she has been playing smart. Anlin Shi, a junior originally from Canada. Anlin Shi was previously at Fordham University. She played at Fordham from 2023 to 2024. She was named the 2024 A10 co-most outstanding rookie. She had a 19-7 singles record for Fordham. And although it's not flashy, the way that Anlin Shi is playing right now is just super solid. This past fall, she won 10 combined matches in singles and doubles. She won 10 combined matches last spring as well, primarily at that number 4 singles spot. So whenever you see a player who played number 4 singles moving down to number 5, it shows the depth of the lineup because she is very experienced at this point in her college tennis career, experienced in 2 different programs. And here on court number 6, Savannah Cohen is taking on Yenung Ma. And we open up play here with the deuce point. That's a tough deuce point. Getting a let cord on a deuce point certainly feels good when you are the player who hit the let cord, but for Ma, there's not much that the Gophers can do there. So it is, in fact, a 3-2 lead for Rutgers. But we are going to quickly hop back to court number 1 because it's a 4-1 lead, rather, for senior Mine Wen. It's a great serve +1 from Ante. Giselle Ante is originally from Riverside, California. She is a transfer from Wyoming. Ante played at Wyoming in the 2023-2024 season. She finished with a singles record of 16-12. She went 17-9 in doubles play. And we see the score will change for us, but it's now 4-2 for Mine Wen. It's a beautiful return from Giselle Ante. Giselle Ante does a nice job of taking the service return early. And so regardless of whether or not you're playing indoors, outdoors, playing on clay court, hard court, grass court, whenever your opponent takes that return early, it takes away time from the server. So we see that Nguyen just barely finished her service motion and the ball was already a winner. Doesn't work every time though. So a bit of a lack of rhythm so far in this game for Mine Wen. It's always tough when your opponent doesn't give you rhythm because then it kind of feels like the ball's not in your hands, like the point is not really up to you. It's a weird feeling if your opponent hits one winner and then just misses the next one. Because then you also haven't really found your range within that game yet. Beautiful from defense to offense, Mine Wen. That was a great get on the wide forehand side. I've always been impressed by Mine Wen's movement on court, and we're seeing that in full display here. Mine Wen, kind of a chameleon. Check out how many different types of balls she hit to Ante that point. High and deep, low and short. There was also a short angle there on the forehand side. I like how much variety Mine Wen plays with. She's a bit of an all-court player, which is really helping her so far in this match. Ante's teeing off on that serve. It does slightly concern me if you are a Rutgers fan, because that serve is just not really hurting Ante. Ante is just stepping in and ripping. Even though she's missing some of them, it doesn't feel great for Rutgers fans that the ball is kind of right on Ante's racket on that serve. We'll see if Nguyen can use a bit more slice to keep the ball low. That's a great shot from Ante. She had to win that point 2 or 3 times, and was really good on defense. Huge deuce point here from down 4-1. What did I say about college tennis? Leads really don't mean that much in college tennis. It was 4-1 just moments ago, but Ante's found a way to find a little bit bigger margins, a little bit bigger targets. So she's operating with a lot more court now. So from 4-1 to 4-3, Ante right back in it. It was a pretty good idea from Frankowska, but it seemed a little bit last minute. There are 2 ways to hit a drop shot. You can either hit a drop shot from behind the baseline, where Frankowska was, and kind of just hope that last minute it goes over, or you can be stepping into the court, kind of set up for a short ball, trick your opponent a little bit, and then hit a drop shot when you have a bit more time. And the latter is a more high percentage shot, but that doesn't necessarily mean you always have to use it. Sometimes when you're stepping in, you can just step in and hit the approach shot. But for Frankowska there, I can certainly tell that she has good hands. She didn't miss that drop shot by much. And we see these leads updating on our screen. So it's a 5-2 lead on court number 4 on the right side of our screen. And if we have court number 5 between Stella Schmitz and Anlin Shi, that would be great to have in our double box on the left side, because it does seem like it's a 5-1 lead rather, for Anlin Shi on court number 5. So if we can replace court number 2 with court number 5 on the left side of our screen, that would be amazing. As it seems like our first sets are starting to wrap up, starting to at least approach the finish line of these first sets. It is wild that Anlin Shi is up 5-1 against Stella Schmitz. It feels very much like a freshman moment for me, because Stella Schmitz is a great player and hits a great ball. I can tell from doubles, I can tell from singles, but it seems like the consistency is not quite there yet, at least in the sense that she can just wait for Schmitz to miss. And that's what's happening a little bit. But I really like Schmitz's ground strokes. I really like her court positioning. She's making great contact with the ball. It just seems like she's a little bit overeager sometimes. I mean, what a beautiful point there from Schmitz. Beautiful. And that's really nice for Rutgers head coach Hillary Ritchie, who can work with Schmitz to continue to just develop her consistency while also maintaining the racket head speed on that forehand. And it's a huge shout out to Shi for weathering the storm. And of course, Schmitz, after winning a doubles match 6-1 to then go into singles and be down 5-1 very quickly, it just speaks to Shi's experience. So it is set point for Anlin Shi and the Minnesota Gophers. From Fordham to Minnesota, we see Anlin Shi continuing to have success on court, continuing to find ways to play within herself. Because again, Anlin Shi is not necessarily the flashiest player, but I really like how consistent she is and how she seems to be able to break down players' weaknesses very quickly. Wow, that's a great defense from Anya Schmitz. From Stella Schmitz, rather. I'm sure her sister Anya would be proud. That was great defense. So one set point is saved by the freshman. So we have a deuce point on court number 5. Another chance at life for Stella Schmitz. Meanwhile, on the left side of our screen, we see some sets wrapping up as Rutgers takes a 6-2 first set on court number 4. What a point. Check out the lower left-hand corner of our screen. What a point. I've just been dialed in on that match. That was an incredible comeback from Stella Schmitz, rather, to stay alive in that first set. So it's 5-2 as we change ends on court number 5. We will keep our eye on that court because it's very high-quality tennis going on. Don't sleep on court number 5 at Rutgers. That's a good match. Meanwhile, on court number 1, we have senior Min Wen continuing to do the work, earning a set point. So far, we have 2 first sets completed. Zeynep Ilker from Rutgers earning the first Rutgers first set for the Scarlet Knights down on court number 4 rather, while on Anlin Shi, it actually says that she was able to win that first set against Stella Schmitz. So that ball must have been out. And meanwhile, Min Wen for Rutgers continues the Scarlet Knights train going. So 2 first sets for Rutgers, 1 first set for Minnesota, and we play on. Court number 3 rather, seems to be closest to another first set. So let's head on over to court number 3. And if possible, actually, could we make a double box with court number 3 singles and court number 6 singles? Because it's a 5-2 and 5-3 lead respectively for Rutgers. I'm very impressed with Rutgers. Again, you trail a team 10-2 overall. Their last matchup between Minnesota and Rutgers, that was a 4-0 win for Minnesota. And now all of a sudden, Rutgers is the one in the driver's seat. Across most of the courts in action right now, it's been all Rutgers. It's so tough to hit a winner in this wind. It is so tough. Ma was very patient there, but the swing volleys indoors probably would have been either winners or just continued the offensive train moving. But outdoors in this wind, everything just gets neutralized. It's like playing on clay a little bit with weather like this because you truly have to win the point 3 or 4 times, and you have to be okay with that. Both of these teams coming off of 4-0 wins. And so that does give both of these programs a little bit of confidence heading into today. But again, neither team has won a Big Ten match so far this spring. So this is really important. It's really important for both programs, as one might say, hey, this is a quote unquote winnable match for both teams. And momentum is so important, especially when teams are looking for first victories within conference play. If you get the doubles point, you get a lot of first sets and singles, all of a sudden it just plants a seed in the mind of your opponent. Hey, Rutgers is here to defend home turf. That's a great shot from Rutgers. So it's a 5-3 lead for Zuzana Frankowska on court number 2 on the left side of our screen. Meanwhile, Jumazanova from Rutgers has the 5-2 lead on court number 3. I really like the way that Rutgers is playing today. We see Scarlet Knights are getting a lot of depth, a lot of racket head speed, and also practicing on these courts throughout the week. I cannot emphasize how important that is because obviously for Minnesota, they were in school, they were playing other matches, they couldn't just fly to Rutgers and practice on these courts. But I know firsthand that these courts can feel kind of brutal to play on. And they're all in a line, there's no shade. And again, it's not like the heat is really a factor today. It's just a really nice day out on the East Coast, but still, just playing outside, and it's a very exposing feeling playing on these courts because the benches are just there. There's no umbrella, there's no overhang that's kind of shading the players. So in between changeovers, you always kind of feel like hamster under the lights a little bit. So 6-2 for Jumazanova on court number 3. That's another Rutgers first set. So 2 singles courts still in play for us to decide first sets. And we see here it's 5-4 for Cohen, 5-3 for Frankowska on courts 6 and 2 respectively. So we are reaching the end of these first sets, and it is wild. It's all Rutgers right now. It's all Scarlet Knights. Rutgers is 7-6 overall this year. Rutgers took a 4-3 win over Delaware earlier in the season, which seemed to be a really big moment because taking a 4-3 win at any point in the season is really exciting for a program. But to do it so early is huge. That really gives players confidence and says, hey, I can be okay in pressure moments. I can be okay in those moments that are so uncomfortable for me and my teammates as everyone is watching you play. That clinch match, everyone is watching. And that was a 4-3 win at home against Delaware. And on the singles court, all the matches that Rutgers won, they were all straight set wins, which is nice as well because there were not any 7-6 in the third set moments, which of course, from the coaching perspective, always causes a bit of stress for the players as well. So Cohen takes the first set on court number 6. That's another Rutgers first set. So we can go full screen to court number 2 as we wait for our final first set to conclude. And weeks later, Rutgers does it again with another 4-3 win over Fordham. Rutgers also pulls a 4-0 win over Army, 4-0 over Monmouth. So Rutgers is certainly playing well this year. And it's a younger team. 5 out of 9 players are underclassmen, with just Mine Wen as the lone senior. So sometimes it works to have a little bit less experienced players, just a new crop of players on the team. And especially underclassmen, sometimes they all just bond together because so much changes in college. From high school to college, of course, your schedule changes, where you live changes. A lot of changes academically, athletically, socially, everything changes when you go to college. And so underclassmen can often bond together, get really close, and that can create a lot of team chemistry. So it's 5-4 for Susanna Frankowska as we change ends. Rutgers head coach Hillary Ritchie spent the previous 6 seasons as the assistant at Rutgers before, in 2016, getting promoted to head coach, where she has been for the past 9 seasons. This is her 10th year leading the Scarlet Knights. Back when I was playing college tennis, Coach Ritchie always ran a wonderful tournament at Rutgers every summer for college players. It was part of the ITA summer circuit. And it was so hot that week. It would literally be 100 degrees on the court. It was wild. And again, we all see this. I've said it before, no shade. Well, no shade hits different when you're playing in the heat of the summer. And you're playing all the college players that you normally play in cooler conditions in the fall and in the early spring. But it was really good training for all of us. We got a lot of good matches. Susanna Frankowska, a junior out of Poland. Frankowska was added to the 2025 Big Ten Women's Tennis Players to Watch list after leading the team with 16 singles wins last season. She won matches against St. John's, UMass, Indiana. It's a really nice angle there from LePere. Mia LePere is in her junior season. She's originally from Austria. This past fall, LePere played a lot of matches. She won 10 combined matches in singles and doubles. She competed in the All-American Championships in both singles and doubles. And LePere made history for Minnesota notching Minnesota's first win in the All-American Championship since 2015. And it speaks to the depth of Minnesota that LePaire is at number 2 singles and not number 1 singles. It's pretty cool. LePaire was an ITF J3 doubles winner in her home country of Austria. She was also a 2-time ITF J5 singles winner. Those wins coming in Ghana. So that appeared to be an overrule by the chair, it seems. Or perhaps the call stands, as our score does update to 40-15 LePaire. So Rutgers, of course, wins the doubles point. So far, takes 4 first sets. Minnesota has 1 first set, and this is our last first set to finish up here. And Susanna Frankowska has nice technique on the forehand side. Pretty simple technique, straight to the ball. She also does a nice job using power from the ground, really loading with her legs. We see both of these players have won 30 points each this set. I saw a stat that says that college tennis matches often come down to between 2 to 4 points in each match, and that totally makes sense, especially with no ad scoring. And the racket flies out of Frankowska's hand as LePaire evens things up. It's 5-all. Quite a first set to be following here. I'm very impressed with the way that LePaire has fought back, and she's also playing within herself. She's playing with big targets, giving herself a lot of margin for error, which is super important when the wind's swirling. You see both of these players building down the middle, deep down the middle. That's a great point. Every single point in college tennis is such a battle. It's not just a battle physically, but it's a battle mentally as well, to stay focused and stay locked in on every ball. Because tennis is so much like chess. You just are thinking about the next move always and thinking about where your opponent's going to be. And also how to make your opponent uncomfortable. That is the name of the game in this sport, is how can you make your opponent uncomfortable? How can you break down their weakness? And for Frankowska and LePaire, I don't see a prominent weakness necessarily, but it's just in general how both of them have been taking that forehand and being aggressive. Like LePaire there. I would say that LePaire does not necessarily have a clear weakness. She just more has that big forehand. And so for Frankowska, it's going to be about keeping it to the LePaire backhand. And you almost feel like Lepere has earned that double fault through those aggressive forehands that she's hit. It's a wild situation to have a forehand that is so smooth, just whipping through the ball. What a drop shot. Okay, Ange Jabeur. That was wild. Frankowska looked like she was on defense that point. We saw a little bit of that drop shot action earlier on in this match. That was a drop shot that Frankowska actually missed. But for Frankowska to make that drop shot at 5-all, 15-30, that was wild. That's a huge comeback from Frankowska. Honestly, for a minute, it looked like Frankowska was going to lose these two games, and to then lose the 5-4 game, but now to have a game point to go up 6-5, that's a big emotional turnaround for Frankowska, who has been pretty stoic this match for sure. She's done a really nice job of staying composed. Well, it can't get much closer than this. 5-all deuce. Some players have already played 4 games in the second sets on their courts. That's just too good from Lepere. As we see Minnesota getting another shot at life here. It seems that Lepere is really, really important in the overall lineup right now for Minnesota and how much she's fought back in this match. Because it is time to check out the action on some other courts for a moment. Court number 4, if possible, or court number 5 rather. It seems to be a 6-1 3-love lead for she. Again, Stella Schmitz rather, is setting up almost every point on that forehand side. She's just not winning any of them. And we see Stella Schmitz on the board in this second set. So even the Rutgers players who are not in the lead, we see how much they're battling on every single court right now. And Rutgers fans love to see it. Scarlet Knights are certainly due for a win against the Minnesota Gophers. 6-1 3-1 though for she on this court, as seems that she is still pretty much in control. If possible, let's actually hop on over to court number 4 singles rather, because it is a 6-2 4-1 lead for Zeynep Ilker. And we see these players will get back in action momentarily. Zeynep Ilker is certainly off to the races here. And Ilker actually clinched the match against Cornell when Rutgers won their first Ivy League home match since 2020. That was a 4-0 win for Cornell, and there was a video of Ilker. And she didn't even really celebrate that much after she won. It seemed pretty muted celebration. I'm not even sure if the Rutgers players knew that that was a historic moment for the program. It's a nice serve from Pinto. Zeynep Ilker is originally from Turkey. She's now in her sophomore season. She was a member of Turkey's national team, taking part in the European Championships and juniors. As a freshman, she won 13 singles matches. She also earned 9 doubles wins across the season. And after a freshman year, it's so helpful to have those matches behind you. And again, going back to Brad Gilbert's winning ugly. Some of those matches freshman year for all of us, they're kind of ugly. But sometimes you just have to get through them. Those matches walk so then you can run sophomore year. And we see Zeynep Ilker in this match, certainly establishing herself, continuing to be aggressive. But Pinto has come up with some nice serves. So it's sophomore versus senior on court number 4. Sophia Pinto in her senior season. She's originally from Lisbon, Portugal. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been. She was 7-4 on the singles court this past fall. She also won 6 doubles matches for the Gophers. That's a beautiful shot from Ilker. I don't even know how Ilker found that backhand angle. It's very challenging to find the angle when your opponent's hitting right down the middle. Oftentimes coaches say, hey, hit down the middle to your opponent to trap them. Don't give them the angle. And then there's the angle. That was amazing from Ilker. It's a beautiful angle again. Ilker is just the queen of the angles from the middle of the court. Meanwhile, on the right side of our screen, it's a tiebreak. So on court number 2, they are still in the first set. Meanwhile, on court number 4, we're almost done with this whole match. This is the beauty of college tennis, is that literally your opponent can be battling. And then your teammate, meanwhile, your teammate's still in the first set. So your opponent is trying to stay in the match. You're literally close to serving for the match. Your teammate next door on the next court. It's 6-0 in the first set. Needless to say, on the right side of our screen, that play site summary a little bit premature. We are still in the first set there, in the first set tiebreak. So Ilker will try to serve it out here. It's beautiful forehands from Ilker. And check out how quick she is with her footwork. She gets around that forehand so quickly. And it's nice to have a forehand weapon because then it gives you this impetus, it gives you this momentum to really get around it. It gives you this motivation to say, hey, I want the entire court to be a forehand. That was a great return from Pinto. Beautiful down the line winner on the right side of our screen from Zuzana Frankowska as Rutgers takes a 2-1 lead in that tiebreak. But quite truly, there's a good chance that this match on the right side of our screen on court number 2 will still be in the first set, and then we will have matches completed on the singles court as well. Sometimes in practice in college, the coaches will have you play practice matches against your teammates, challenge matches, whatever you'd like to call it. But oftentimes the court is done. You have exceeded your court time limit, and players will stay after practice to finish literally first sets. That's how long these players battle. Sometimes you might have practice 4 to 6. There is no way that all of the singles matches that a coach would assign would finish up in that time. I'm certainly excited to follow Ilker's career. Zeynep Ilker coming off a nice freshman season for Rutgers, of course, using that forehand to really open up the court here. I'm curious to see how that forehand develops during 4 years in college. Match point for Ilker. Could we go full screen on court number 4? So Pinto defends the first match point. And that is Rutgers assistant coach Noah Lilienthal on the sidelines there. He's in his second season with Rutgers. He was a 5-time All-American at Wesleyan. And Ilker going for a little bit too much. So we change ends. It's 5-2 for the sophomore from Rutgers. We can hop back on over to our tiebreak on court number 1. Court number 2, rather. So we are changing ends here too. Rutgers with the 4-2 advantage in the breaker. And for Frankowska here, it's going to be important to keep that Ball away from the Lepere forehand, as Lepere's forehand has kind of gotten her back into this first set. Just like that. I mean, what a deep forehand. Just going through the court so quickly. For Frankowska, not much she could do there. A nice first serve from Lepere. Nice serve +1 with the forehand. Meanwhile, left side of our screen, we'll see if sophomore Zeynep Ilker is able to serve this one out for Rutgers. The Lepere forehand has gotten her out of trouble 700 times. We've seen this story play out again and again. Frankowska had the first set lead. Lepere all of a sudden started running around the court, making everything a forehand. Then it's back to 5-all. Now it's 6-all. Frankowska with the 4-2 lead. And now, of course, Lepere with those two forehands gets us back to 4-all. And it's a 5-4 lead for Minnesota now on court number 2. In a wild turn of events that has been this first set. We are at the 2-hour mark in this match. And we're still in the first set on court number 2. Set point for Lepere and the Gophers on the right side of our screen. Nice serving from Ilker on the left side of our screen. We are approaching some big momentum moments in this overall match. Double fault on set point. That's going to hurt if you're a Minnesota fan. That's going to hurt. So Frankowska now back on serve. Lepere still with another set point right here. A little bit of service troubles across the court. And there it is, Frankowska battling back 6-all, 6-all on court number 2. Set point and match point for Zeynep Ilker. Could we go full screen on 4? And it does appear to be continuing this match. That's a little odd. Okay. So it's 5-3 now. 5-3. So never mind. We play on as our score updates. We can go back to double box action as the literally endless first set on court number 2 continues. And you know what, actually? If possible, could we go triple box to include court number 5 between Stella Schmitz and Anlin Shi because it is 6-1-5-2 for Minnesota on court number 5. Minnesota takes the first set in over 2 hours into this match. LePaire takes a 7-6, 8-6 in the tiebreak first set on the upper left-hand corner of our screen. So we can just go back to our double box now with court 5 and court 4. So Minnesota showing some very important fight here for Gophers fans. But it does seem like Rutgers overall is still in the driver's seat. That Ilker forehand's very dangerous because you see it sets up the rest of her game, and then when Ilker doesn't run around her backhand to hit a forehand, she actually has so much more court to work with. So it becomes very challenging for Pinto to find open court. There's a huge grip and rip from Stella Schmitz on court number 5. So we change ends. It's 5-4 for Ilker on court number 4. Let's go full screen to court number 5 because it is match point for Anlin Shi. And it's game set match for Anlin Shi. So Minnesota gets on the board with a 6-1, 6-2 victory from Anlin Shi. So all of a sudden, it's 1-1 now. That may or may not last as our overall score right now, but it is a huge tribute to both Anlin Shi from Minnesota, just winning that match, but also to Minnesota's Mia LePaire on court number 2, who fought back to take that first set 7-6 over Frankowska. So Minnesota still has a first set over Rutgers in the matches at play. But it appears to be another match point, though, this time for Rutgers. Savannah Cohen gets it done for the Scarlet Knights. So it's 6-4, 6-1 here on court number 6 in favor of Rutgers. So now I said it wouldn't last long. It's already 2-1 for Rutgers. That was a huge win from Savannah Cohen to continue the overall Rutgers momentum. That was a big win on court number 6. So that goes the way of Rutgers. That's big time tennis from sophomore Zeynep Ilker, who has really had to withstand a final battle from Pinto. And it might not be the final battle, but it certainly feels like the final stand, at least, from Pinto, and how Pinto has been able to outlast Ilker in some really important rallies. Right now, Ilker is just 2 points away from putting another point on the Rutgers board. That's a huge backhand down the line. And we have multiple match point chances for the sophomore from Rutgers. There it is. 6-2, 6-4 for Zeynep Ilker. So all of a sudden, it's 3-1 for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights at home. So Rutgers just needs one more of these matches in play. And you know what? Let's hop on over to court number 1, because there's a very important moment about to happen here on court number 1, as senior Mai Nguyen is up a set, but Giselle Ante has taken the 5-4 lead in the second set. So this is a big moment for both players, but especially the senior Mai Nguyen, because she has a first set. And she had some momentum in the second set, but it's been pretty close, the second set, scoreboard-wise. It's been pretty close. And Mai Nguyen playing with a lot of confidence this spring. It's been really fun to see her evolve as a player. She's originally from Atlanta. She was the 2025 ITA Northeast Region Most Improved Player. And we see why. She had 12 singles wins last spring, and she also has really improved her movement and her forehand. So far, a very solid service game from the senior. It's impressive how many games Nguyen has been able to hold and kind of fend off that ante return. I'm sure that Minnesota fans wish that that ante return was a tiny bit more consistent because it's so powerful. And ante takes that ball so early on the return, really rushing Nguyen. So it's 5-all, very crucial hold there from the senior. Meanwhile, court number 3 is just starting the first set. After dropping the first set, Minnesota's Iva Schmitz took a very quick 6-1 second set. She is up 1-love in the third. Right now, this is our match closest to finishing, though, because remember the match that just finished the first set? Well, they clearly pair from Minnesota after taking an over, I want to say an hour and a half first set over Susanna Frankowska. So those two will be battling for a long time. It's a nice point for Monte. Three matches have been complete on the singles court. 3 matches remain. Rutgers has taken 2 out of 4 of these singles matches in progress so far. And with the doubles point, the Scarlet Knights lead 3-1. Minnesota taking a crucial straight set victory on the number 5 singles court. Thanks to Anlin Shi. That was a beautiful forehand. Check out how that ball landed and just tailed off, literally off camera. That's how much racket head speed Mind One has on the forehand side. That was beautiful to see. Forehand's just too big from the senior. Mind One absolutely ripping. Giselle Ante in her junior season. Giselle Ante previously spent time at Wyoming, where she won 16 singles matches, won 17 and 9 in doubles play. Some big time tennis there for Monte to stay in there. Just stick with it. Sometimes you just have to make your opponent hit one more ball. And right now, I see Ante's strategy. I see that. Going deep down the middle to Nguyen. Very, very smart. Unless you're Zeynep Ilker and you can create angles from the middle of the court, it's usually a smart strategy to actually go deep down the middle and pressure moments because it gives you a lot of momentum and it gives you a lot of margin for error as well within the point. And then also it traps your opponent. They can't really do much from deep down the middle. Ante's right back in it. Ante's also kept up really good racket head speed, which has allowed her to get that depth through the elements. It's pretty big from Ante. Pretty big time. So we change ends, 6-5 for Ante in the second set. Meanwhile, let's hop on over to court number 2. We can actually go double box if possible between court number 2 and court number 3. As we see, Minnesota has certainly owned this final portion of this match so far. Because although it's 3-1 for Rutgers, Minnesota up a set in 2-love on court number 2. Minnesota up 2-love in the third set on court number 3. On the right side of our screen, we see Jumazanova saving one of those game points. But Schmitz is certainly in control. That is the older Schmitz, Ava Schmitz, the senior, using her experience. And that's a big forehand from Schmitz. So we change ends. It's 3-love in the third set for Minnesota. And now we go full screen to court number 2 for a moment. And it really feels like every point has so much weight right now because momentum can change within a point, of course. It can change within a game, within a set. But when we see these players going deep down the middle, building the point like that, and then making an unforced error, that could really change the momentum of this game. And we see here, Lepere with a 2-love lead, but Frankowska, she's right in it. She's here to battle, even after losing such a heartbreaking first set. That is beautiful tennis from Zuzana Frankowska. Lepere is on the ground, but she seems to be okay. So we change ends. It's 2-1 for Lepere. So Rutgers fans are definitely holding their breath right now, as Nguyen is just fighting off this very powerful return of serve from Ante. Nguyen, a year ago, was named the Big Ten Player of the Week. She also earned a ranked win last April when Rutgers played Iowa. And again, that return a serve from Ante. Ante placed that return really well, pulling Nguyen wide, but it looked like Nguyen went for a little bit too much on that forehand. And right now, it's a tough balance, but certainly consistency is key to open up the court to start building the point. Nguyen has 2 more chances to tie it up here. And she does. So it's 6-all. The question for Rutgers and Scarlet Knight fans will be, is Mai Nguyen up to the challenge of finishing this match in the second set tiebreak? Because if not, we'll go to the third set. We'll be here for potentially a long time, because the other 2 singles matches in action right now are all Minnesota. Minnesota up a set and 2-1 on court number 2. Minnesota up 3-love in the third set on court number 3. So there is a more than likely chance that this would become a 4-3 match if Mai Nguyen is not able to close this out in this tiebreak. Again, our current score is 3-1 Rutgers. But if you look very closely at the individual matches, it does not give that energy. Certainly feels like potentially a 3-all situation here on court number 1. The first point goes to Mai Nguyen with an unforced error from Ante. Well, it was overruled. My goodness. What a way to start this tiebreak. So the first point actually goes to Ante, it seems. We will wait for our official scoreboard to confirm this, but that's a wild situation. That is a wild first point of a tiebreak. And a little bit of nerves on court number 1. We all feel it. There's certainly tension in this match between these 2 teams. Again, both teams looking to win their first Big Ten matchup of the spring season, as we wait to see if it is 1-all or love 2 here. So it seems like it is 1-all. Okay, so the chair umpire did not overrule that call, rather. Two one for Ante, and again, we've seen that pattern so much. Right off the Nguyen serve, Ante, right there, boom, return. And it catches Nguyen on her back foot. It's very tough to recover from. And you look at Nguyen's game overall, perhaps you say, okay, hey, maybe a few more miles per hour on the serve would help mitigate the situation. But at this point in the match, Mai Nguyen just has to make the placement as good as possible on that serve. It's a great shot from Nguyen, staying calm when Ante is rushing the net. It's a cool contrast between game styles here. Nguyen seems to be a bit of a chameleon. She can kind of do anything and bend her game to the opponent based on what the opponent's weaknesses are. But Ante is stepping in. Ante is going to step in from the first point to the last of this match, and I respect that. But at the same time, if Nguyen is able to deal with it, then we have that situation where Ante is kind of at net, not really having any opportunity to continue to be aggressive there. I mean, That's some aggressive tennis, though. So 3-2 for Ante. Tough moment on the serve for Mai Nguyen. It happens to the best of us. And you know what? We are actually going to go double box because we have to. Let's bring in court number 3 because Iva Schmitz, the senior from Minnesota, using her experience after dropping the first set, she has only lost 1 game. So let's go double box to include court number 3. As Iva Schmitz has a point to go up 5-love in this third set. And there it is, 5-love for Iva Schmitz. We can go back to full screen as we change ends here on court number 2. Susanna Frankowska gets MVP of the Fighter Award for today. I'm going to say that because we're 2.5 hours into this match. Frankowska down a set and 2-love. And at this point in the match, it's very easy, most likely, to feel fatigued. But Frankowska battles back, and now she has a chance to go up 3-2. That is after losing an absolutely heartbreaking first set. All right, let's bring back court number 1 in our double box, as it does seem like Giselle Ante will send this match potentially to 3 sets. She is certainly looking like it with this set point. Mai Nguyen saves 1 set point. Meanwhile, Frankowska taking the 3-2 lead on court number 2. So let's go back full screen to court number 1, where we see Ante with 2 more set point opportunities. That is a great comeback within that point for Mai Nguyen because we see again Giselle Ante steps in, rips. Mai Nguyen is able to neutralize that. Mai Nguyen took a step back from the baseline, gave herself a little bit more space and time. And she is now forcing Giselle Ante to try to serve out the second set. Send this match to a third set. Wow, what a point. We are going the distance on court number 1. So Giselle Ante evens things up on the top court. Meanwhile, let's quickly go to court number 3, full screen, as in this time, Iva Schmitz up 5-love in the third set, looking to put another point on the Minnesota scoreboard. And that is game, set, and match for Iva Schmitz. So the senior takes care of business, shows that experience, and all of a sudden it is 3-2. Rutgers is still in front, but with the momentum the way that it has been going, it does not feel like that. And back to number 2 singles we go, where Zuzana Frankowska drops a heartbreaking first set, but she's up 3-2 in the second set. And meanwhile, of course, our remaining 2 matches, we will go double box as soon as court number 1 starts their third set. Rutgers is absolutely dominating right now at net, but Frankowska is just not able to get up to net enough, it seems. And so at times, Lepere is keeping her push back, taking that forehand, opening up the court. And Lepere doesn't even necessarily need to come into net off that forehand, because it seems like she's able to hit winners from inside the baseline. But for Frankowska is going to have to build points a little bit more. Frankowska has some nice patience out here on court. This is also a bit of contrasting styles, because I feel like Frankowska can build the point off of either side, and she might be a little less showy about it, but she's able to move Lepere around the court, whereas that Lepere forehand is so dangerous. And there it is. 4-2 for Zuzana Frankowska. The fight is unreal on these courts right now. Both of these teams looking for their first Big Ten victory of the season. It's not going to be easy for either one of them today, as it is currently 3-2 for Rutgers. Rutgers takes the opening doubles point. Gets 2 singles matches quickly on the board, and it's 3-1 for Rutgers, but not so simple. It's never so simple. Thanks to Giselle Ante, Minnesota is still in this match. again, we see the same story from that ante return to serve. Mainowen is going to have to find a way to either keep that serve a little bit lower on ante with the slice, or just maybe go body, maybe trap ante. Because right now ante is stepping into every return and it's really hurting Nguyen. That's too good from ante. So many breakpoint chances right now for ante, all well earned from that return to serve. And it seems like that is a potential overrule on court number 1. Did the chair confirm? The chair did confirm the call. Okay, so that ball was in fact called wide and the call stands. Meanwhile, left side of our screen, we see Zuzana Frankowska continuing to move Lepere around the court, continuing to make her uncomfortable and find that Lepere backhand. So we change ends, and it's an opening break for ante on the right side of our screen. Big time turn of momentum. All right, let's go full screen to court number 2. What fun from Zuzana Frankowska. 5-2. Rutgers goes in front in the second set. Huge turnaround from Frankowska. So ante right now is kind of in control, because when she's serving, she's controlling how the point starts, and when she's returning, she's also controlling how the point starts. Very different energy from the ante that we saw before in the first set. And right now for Nguyen, that forehand is going to be so important to continue to push back ante when she can. And we've seen Nguyen lose a little bit of racket head speed on that forehand side, which is so easy to do because it really does feel like the match a little bit comes down to court number 1. Because there's a feeling that the way that court number 2 will swing momentum-wise in this third set, if Frankowska is able to force the third set, will be kind of mirrored to the energy on court number 1. And that's what happens in college tennis. When it just comes down to 2 courts, especially when these players are playing next to one another, on the two show courts, there's a lot of shared energy between these players. If your teammate's up, it's going to make you feel more hype. If your teammate's down, it's going to be a little bit tough. It's going to kind of feel like an uphill battle often. And so for all four of these players who are still on court, physicality is going to be so important. Just being positive, being as stoic as possible. And even though it feels very uncomfortable for all four of these players, being willing to be uncomfortable and live in that discomfort and compete alongside it is going to be the key. And that's a break from mind to end. Very, very important for Rutgers. Big break. Meanwhile, we change ends on court number 2 as Frankowska has forced a third set. So we are just starting third sets on both of these courts. Rutgers needs only one, and Minnesota needs both. So it certainly seems like the momentum would be with Rutgers right now, considering that the Scarlet Knights only need one of these two matches that are in progress. But there's a large feeling that if Ante is confident and she's returning serve, which she is right now, and she continues to step in, not like that, but in general, continues to step in, it's going to put Rutgers in a very tough spot. So that Ante return becomes so important, and perhaps for Ante, maybe even taking a step back right now and just making sure that she's putting the returns in, giving herself a chance to get into these points, could be helpful. But it's a tough balance too, because Ante has found so much success from attacking the first serve. So it's certainly a balance. And we see here on court number 2, we are going to head back into play momentarily. And on court number 1, we see a nice freeze frame of the tennis. Hopefully we'll be back in action soon. And Rutgers again trails this overall matchup 10-2 head-to-head since 2009. Minnesota won the last matchup 4-0 at Rutgers 1 year ago in 2015. And already Scarlet Knights have definitely made sure that's not going to happen. So it is early on in these third sets on both of these courts that will determine the outcome of this overall match. And we have some awesome tennis across the country today. Since the Schmidt sisters are playing one another, their teams are playing one another today, I will take a minute to check in on my sister at the University of Michigan. They're playing UCLA today, and the match is 2-2. They also had a noon start, so we are here to grind today, which totally makes sense. We're in conference play. So that makes sense to me, and it unfortunately seems like our cameras are out at the moment at Rutgers. Oh, they might be back. All right, we'll give it a minute. So it seems like now is not an ideal time to lose cameras, considering that we are at a 3-2 matchup here between Rutgers and Minnesota. Rutgers with that 3-2 advantage after winning the doubles point. Right now, 2 singles matches have gone the way of RU. 2 singles matches have gone the way of Minnesota. And so we will wait for our cameras to come back, and hopefully we will be back with you momentarily. All right, welcome back to our Big Ten CrossCourt cast. This is your host, Peri Sheinin, and we do have a final score as Rutgers has won this match. So the Scarlet Knights take the win over Minnesota. Rutgers earns its first Big Ten victory of the 2026 season, and unfortunately our cameras did go out, so we were not able to bring you the exact play-by-play, but Mind Wen, senior at Rutgers, took the victory at number one singles. There were also wins for Rutgers from Zeynep Ilker and Savannah Cohen, along with the doubles point. And it has been a very high-level tennis match in New Jersey as Rutgers takes the victory over Minnesota. Thank you for joining us in the part of the broadcast that did operate. So we were definitely glad to have you joining us during that part of the broadcast. And again, apologies for the lack of cameras in the final portion of this college tennis match. But we thank you, as always, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.